They told you that being loved would protect you, that kindness would keep you safe. But they never warned you what happens when love is tested. From childhood, a quiet lesson was planted in your mind. Be good, be agreeable, be understanding, and the world will reward you. This chapter is about breaking that belief, not with anger, but with clarity. Because the first step toward power is seeing the lie you were raised on. You didn't choose this lie. It was given to you early, wrapped in good intentions. Teachers praised you for being polite. Family told you to avoid conflict. Movies showed the kind man winning in the end. Slowly, you learned that approval felt like safety, that being liked felt like strength. And for a while, it works. People smile at you. They say you're easy to be around. They trust you with their stories, their problems, their weight. You feel useful, needed, almost powerful. But then something strange happens. The moment you need something back. The moment you draw a line. The moment you say no. The warmth fades. The smiles tighten. The tone changes. Suddenly, you're different. Suddenly, you're not the same anymore. That's when the lie reveals itself. Love, as most people understand it, is conditional. It survives when things are easy. It disappears when there is pressure. Power is different. Power does not depend on mood or comfort. Power holds when things break. Most men don't learn this until they lose something important. A job where they were liked, but never respected. A relationship where they gave endlessly, but were replaced easily. A friendship where loyalty vanished the moment it was inconvenient. And the confusion hurts the most. You ask yourself, I did everything right. Why did this still happen? Because you were playing the wrong game. Love is emotional. Power is structural. Love lives in feelings. Power lives in reality. Feelings change. Reality does not care. There's a moment every man remembers, even if he never talks about it. A moment when he realized that being good did not save him. That moment feels like betrayal, but it isn't. It's awakening. History has always been honest about this, even if society is not. Leaders who ruled through affection were the first to fall. Kings who wanted to be admired delayed hard decisions. And when chaos came, love offered no shield. This is not about becoming cruel. It's about becoming clear. Machiavelli understood something uncomfortable about human nature. He saw that people do not follow goodness, they follow certainty. They don't align with kindness, they align with strength that can act. He warned that love is held by obligation. An obligation breaks when fear, desire, or opportunity enters the room. Think about it honestly. How many people stay loyal when it costs them nothing? How many disappear the moment it costs them something? This is why approval is a fragile foundation. The man who builds his identity on being liked must constantly adjust himself to survive. He bends his words, softens his truth, delays his boundaries, not because he is weak, but because he fears being alone. And fear always gives away power. Power does not mean domination. It means gravity. It means when you speak, things move. When you decide, reality adjusts. That does not come from being pleasant. It comes from consistency and consequence. The world does not test your intentions. It tests your limits. And here is the hardest truth. People don't respect you more because you sacrifice yourself. They respect you when you stop sacrificing your center. There is a quiet shift that happens when a man realizes this. He stops explaining himself. He stops begging to be understood. He stops trading his spine for comfort. And at first, he loses something. He loses easy smiles. He loses shallow approval. He loses the illusion that everyone is on his side. But what he gains is weight. His words land heavier. His presence feels firmer. People listen differently, not because they love him more, but because they sense something solid beneath him. That solidity is power. And it begins the moment you stop confusing love with safety. There is a reason this lesson is not taught openly. Because it forces responsibility back onto you. No one is coming to protect you because you're kind. No one is staying because you deserve it. They stay because you matter in a way that does not depend on mood. That realization is lonely, but it is honest. And honesty is where strength begins. The lie you were raised on wasn't meant to hurt you, but believing it without question will. Love feels warm, but it does not hold under pressure. Power feels cold at first, but it holds when everything shakes. The moment you see the difference, you can never unsee it. And that is when the real journey begins. Pressure changes everything. It reveals what people truly value. It strips away promises, soft words, and good intentions. When life is calm, love looks strong. People say the right things. They show up. They agree. But when pressure enters the room, fear, loss, competition, love is the first thing to bend. This is where most men are caught off guard. They believe love is a shield. They think loyalty is permanent. They assume that past kindness will protect them when things get hard. But pressure does not respect history. It only respects structure. When resources shrink, when risk appears, when choices become costly, people act in their own interest. Not because they are evil, but because survival speaks louder than emotion. Love is emotional. Power is practical. And practicality always wins under pressure. You've seen this before, even if you didn't name it. A workplace where everyone was family, until layoffs came. Suddenly, loyalty vanished. Promises meant nothing. The same smiles that once felt warm turned distant and cold. Not because you were hated, but because love had no weight when fear arrived. Or a relationship that felt unbreakable. Deep talks, big words, plans for the future. But the moment you needed support instead of giving it, the connection weakened. Love stayed when things were easy. It left when strength was required. This is the quiet truth no one prepares you for. Love is comfortable. Power is demanding. Love asks for harmony. Power asks for discipline. Machiavelli understood this long before modern life softened the message. He observed leaders fall not because they were cruel, but because they hesitated. They wanted to be seen as fair, kind, reasonable. And in that pause, others moved against them. Pressure does not wait for your values to catch up. A leader who rules by love must constantly maintain it. He must keep people happy, calm, satisfied. That means avoiding hard decisions, delaying punishment, ignoring small acts of disrespect. Over time, those small cracks become fractures. People sense weakness before it becomes visible. Not consciously, instinctively. They test limits. They push boundaries. They ask for more while giving less. And when nothing pushes back, they learn something dangerous: you cannot enforce consequence. This is where love turns against you. Because once people feel safe enough to ignore you, they stop respecting you. And when respect fades, love does not protect you, it exposes you. Power, on the other hand, is not emotional. It is built on clarity, rules, consistency. When people know where the line is, and that crossing it has a cost, they adjust their behavior. Not out of fear alone, but out of understanding. This is what many misunderstand. Power is not rage. It is restraint. It is not about hurting others. It is about being capable of action, and choosing it deliberately. Men who avoid power often say they don't want to be that guy. They don't want to be harsh. They don't want conflict. But avoiding power does not make you peaceful. It makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability invites control from others. When pressure rises, people look for structure. Someone who can decide. Someone who can act without shaking. If you are driven by love alone, pressure exposes you. You hesitate. You explain. You soften. Others do not. This is why comfort is dangerous. Comfort teaches you to expect stability without effort. It tells you that things will stay the same because they always have. But pressure is not loyal. It arrives without warning and forces choice. And when that moment comes, love asks, "How does this feel?" Power asks, "What must be done?" Only one of those keeps things from collapsing. There is a loneliness that comes with accepting this truth. Because you begin to see the pattern everywhere. You stop romanticizing loyalty. You stop expecting gratitude. You stop assuming people will choose you when choosing you costs them something. First, this feels bitter. But it is not bitterness. It is realism. Realism is not pessimism. It is preparation. The man who understands this does not become cold. He becomes intentional. He builds systems instead of hopes, standards instead of wishes. He prepares for pressure instead of denying it. He knows that love is welcome, but unreliable. Machiavelli once warned, in essence, that men will always choose safety over obligation. When fear enters, promises exit. This is not cruelty. It is nature. The mistake is expecting nature to be different. When you stop doing that, something shifts. You stop being shocked by betrayal. You stop being confused by silence. You stop taking collapse personally. Instead, you build differently. You design your life so it does not rely on affection to function. You create boundaries that do not need approval. You make decisions that stand even when no one claps. And when pressure comes, and it always does, you remain standing. That is the difference. Not loved, not admired, but solid. Pressure does not destroy relationships. It reveals what they were built on. Love collapses when it carries weight it was never meant to hold. Power survives because it was designed for stress. This truth is uncomfortable, but it is freeing. Because once you see it, you stop building your life on comfort. Mastery begins where most men turn back. After the illusions break, after the comfort fades, after you see how love fails under pressure, there is a choice. Some men harden. They become bitter, sharp, closed. They confuse power with cruelty and call it strength. Others retreat. They return to old habits, pretending they never learned the truth. But mastery is a third path. It is learning how to hold power without letting it poison you. True respect does not come from fear alone. Fear creates distance, but distance without purpose creates emptiness. Real respect is quieter. It comes from consistency, from standards that do not change based on mood, from a man who knows who he is, even when no one is watching. This is where discipline replaces emotion. Discipline is not harshness. It is self-control. It is the ability to pause when anger wants to speak, to act when fear wants to hide, to remain calm when chaos looks for a reaction. A disciplined man does not chase control. He becomes it. Most people never meet this kind of presence, but they feel it instantly. You felt it too. A man enters a room and does not need to announce himself. He doesn't rush to be liked. He doesn't explain his worth. He listens more than he speaks. And when he speaks, his words are simple, direct, and final. Not loud, not dramatic, just grounded. That is power without noise. This kind of man understands something important. Respect is not demanded. It is earned through patterns, through decisions made again and again, through boundaries held even when it costs him something. This is how you command respect without losing your soul. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You stop overgiving in hopes of being valued. And you stop tying your identity to how others feel about you. Instead, you build rules for yourself. Rules about what you tolerate. Rules about how you speak. Rules about how you act under pressure. These rules become your backbone. When someone crosses a line, you don't explode. You don't plead. You don't lecture. You act. Calmly. Clearly. Once. People learn faster from action than from emotion. This is where many men struggle. They fear becoming cold. They fear losing connection. But strength does not kill connection. Unclear behavior does. People trust men who are predictable in values, not emotions. If your response depends on your mood, people walk carefully around you, but they do not respect you. If your response depends on principle, people adjust themselves. Not because they love you, but because they understand you. Understanding is stronger than affection. This does not mean you remove warmth from your life. It means you stop using warmth as a tool for control. Love becomes something you offer freely, not something you trade for obedience. That is how you keep your soul. Machiavelli is often misunderstood here. He is painted as heartless, but his real warning was about dependency. When you depend on love to lead, you are owned by it. When you can stand without it, you are free to give it honestly. A man who needs to be loved is easily manipulated. A man who is grounded can choose love without fear. There is a cost to this path. You will disappoint people who benefited from your softness. You will lose access to rooms that were open only when you were agreeable. You will be called distant, changed, even arrogant. But what you gain is alignment. Your words match your actions. Your actions match your values. And your values do not bend under pressure. That alignment creates peace. And peace creates presence. Presence is the deepest form of authority. When you no longer rush to be accepted, people begin to watch you more closely. When you stop performing, your silence becomes noticeable. When you no longer chase approval, your approval gains weight. This is the quiet shift that marks mastery. You are no longer pulled by reactions. You are no longer drained by expectations. You are no longer confused by betrayal. You see things clearly, and you move accordingly. This clarity does not make you cruel. It makes you fair. Fairness is rare, and rarity commands respect. A fair man enforces rules evenly. He does not punish out of emotion or excuse out of attachment. He does not play favorites. He does not argue with reality. He accepts it and works with it. That is why people trust him, even if they don't always like him. Respect grows in that space, and respect lasts. You stop bleeding control when you stop trying to be everything to everyone. You stop losing yourself when you stop negotiating your values for comfort. You stop fearing loneliness when you realize solitude is not emptiness. It is strength without distraction. This is mastery, not dominance, not cruelty, not isolation, but grounded authority. A man who can stand alone, yet connect without dependence. A man who can show warmth without surrendering structure. A man who understands when love is a gift and when it is a liability. Once you reach this point, life feels different. Calmer, heavier, clearer. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping how it meets you. Mastery is not about becoming untouchable. It is about becoming unmovable inside. When you stop confusing love with power, your choices sharpen. Your boundaries settle. Your presence deepens. And respect begins to follow you. Quietly, steadily, without force.